Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a long time since I've been on here, but I'm so glad to be filming for you today. Please disregard my voice. I've got some pretty gnarly allergies going on, and my nails are a hot mess because I have been cleaning and it's summer break. I broke a nail and I just haven't had a chance to go back yet. But I wanted to show you this super cool printable planner that I made for my school year next year. And I think I'm going to title this video a school counselor, planner. But I have been on the hunt, you guys, for a nice big hourly planner that will allow for me to schedule out my day when I am at work, because I tried to do it without an hourly planner. I use an online curriculum-based planner as well called Curriculum Engine, which it's used through my district, and I put all of my lessons in, and I share those with the teachers so they can see when I'm coming and what I'll be teaching. However, that it doesn't show me, I mean, it does put things in chronological order, but it doesn't show me my whole day. I'm not a huge fan of Outlook, though I use it when I need to, but I wanted something on paper. So I have been searching for an affordable hourly option. I didn't want to spend $70 through Erin Condren. Not that I don't love Erin Condren, I do. I've loved using my Erin Condren for the past year. I just did not want to spend $70 on a work planner. I am a public educator. I do not make a ton of money, and spending $70 on a planner just felt like there had to be a more affordable option for what I was looking for. Plus, all the reviews that I had seen for the new hourly Erin Condren, I didn't love it. They got rid of the half an hour option, and I wasn't a big fan. So I purchase a lot of my school lessons through a website called Teacherspayteachers. If you're an educator, you probably are very well aware of that website. It's like an Etsy, but for educators. And it's wonderful. I love it. And I found an hourly, it was listed as a school counselor planner. It was $10 for the Google Doc, and she also includes yearly updates to the planner. And so I thought to myself, $10 and I get a new one every year. Granted, I have to print it myself, but it left me with tons of options. So I decided to purchase it. I figured if I hate it, it's $10, but I loved it. And there are obviously a ton of printing options. You can print, this is on an 8.5 by 11 paper. I did not trim this in any way, so it is a nice big planner, bigger than an Erin Condren. Let me show you. So here's my Erin Condren. So obviously it's a lot bigger. I prefer this size, but I didn't want to have to cut anything. And I could have just hole punched this and put it into a binder. However, I took it to Office Max, Office Depot, I think it is now, and I had it bound. I had a lamination sheet put on the cover, and then I also had this back put on. It's like a plastic back, and that was total with my teacher discount. I think it was less than $5. No, it was less than $4. It was like $3.80. Without my teacher discount, it was less than $6. So I printed on my own paper. I printed on the Hamilton 32, I think it's Hamilton, Hammer Mill. I just threw out the package. Hammer Mill 32-pound paper. I could have used a less expensive option. However, that's what I had, and that's what I like. I wanted it to have a nice feel. That's what I use, and I print inserts for my B6, and I really love that paper. So I printed it. It's in gray, which you'll see in a minute, so it doesn't use a ton of your ink. And then you have a ton of options for your cover. She gave, I don't know, somewhere in the 20s, with really great options, and they're all editable. You need PowerPoint to edit, but It was super easy. I have font on my computer that I use when I create PowerPoints for lessons or when I give professional development for staff. And so I used my two favorite font combination, or my favorite font combination, and I put in my name and then I put in the school year. I printed this at home as well on the 32-pound paper, and I brought it all in to have it punched and bound. There are many different binding options. You don't have to do the spiral. I like the spiral. There are lots of different color options. I think I could have done my spiral in black, white, and navy. I went with black. I considered white. This page in the back here, there were tons of options for this one. I chose white just because I felt like it kept it clean. And then obviously you don't have to have this lamination sheet in the front, but I wanted some kind of protection for my planner. So that is what I did. Now let's go ahead and get into the actual planner itself. So you start with this page here, this year at a glance, and I plan to use this for big ticket items that are happening every month. So for example, in October we do Peace Week. In January we have Random Acts of Kindness Week. December, we have a large chunk of time that we're out of school. We also want to do a coat drive. So I want to put in those big events so that when I'm planning, I know that they're there. And then it goes right into printing. Now granted, remember that I printed this myself. I could have chose to have an extra sheet in there so that it didn't have it right on the back, but I didn't want to waste any space. And so I just went right into printing the calendar. This is the monthly calendar and I love it. It's huge, which I love. It gives me a lot of space and every day to write. And I like the layout. I like over here that I have a section here that I can create a checklist for the month. I can write here if we have any important dates that I need to remember. And I just really, really love this format. Obviously, I'm not going to be using sticker kits in this planner. That's not what this planner is designed for. I thought I wanted to do a planner for home and work combined, but I decided that's just too much. We have too much going on in our lives to have the two blended, to have our home and school put together. So I decided to keep them separate. And I think that this is going to be a really great option. I love how big it is. I love that I can use washi to block out dates. And it's just got a lot of space on there for me. And then we get into the weekly look. Now this is, like I said, printed on 32-pound. When I did print it, I printed it on inkjet setting instead of just regular paper. So that way it really saturated the paper because this is pretty thick. It's not a cardstock by any means, but it is definitely thick. And so I didn't want it to be faded at all. I wanted it to be really saturated. And so I printed it on inkjet setting on my computer and printer. Yours might have something different. You just want to print it on a higher quality than just paper. And like I said, it has the hourly setup. And because this was designed by a counselor, probably a former teacher, she did leave this little section down here at the bottom for small Post-its, which I think is really cool because you can, if you don't use stickers, you can use Post-its as a way to make something stand out if you use a nice bright Post-it. We have this section up here at the top, which I think is awesome. You can put in whatever holiday is that day, something that's happening the entire day. For example, I do a lot of themed weeks. So during Peace Week, each day we might have something that we're wearing or something that we're doing or an announcement that I want to give in the morning during the announcements. And so I can put something here at the top for each day of the week that's really important, or something that's happening every day. And then it breaks it down into the hours, 7 to 4, which is great. My day starts at 7, my day ends at 3-ish, 2:33. And so if I do have anything going on after school, it might go until 3:30, so I like that I have that option here. And it's broken down into 15-minute increments, which is wonderful because sometimes I'll have a student meeting where I'll be working with a student individually and we'll only work for 15 minutes. And so I can write that in. And I might see 4 students in an hour. I might see 2 students in an hour, but I have that option. Now, obviously, this is very big. This column is big. And so regular stickers are not just going to fit into it normally. So I'm going to show you, this is a sticker kit I'm using this week. I don't know which one of these videos you're going to see first, but I'm going to show you with a full box. Obviously the full box is much larger. I mean, it's much smaller than the area. However, what I was thinking was if I did want to pull in some full boxes, which I use tons of printable kits, so I could always print just a full box page, and I could always use it to block off time. It'll block off a 3-hour, portion, and if I have something going on, like for example, my school counselor meetings in the district are 3 hours. They're usually 8 to 11, and so I could use this to block off that entire spot. But obviously these are going to be a lot smaller than this is 8.5 by 11, so it's going to be a lot smaller. I wanted to show you how half boxes fit. I could still use checklists if I wanted to. And let's go ahead, this kit, by the way, is from Paper Crown Planner. It's one of my absolute favorites. So if I wanted to use a half box, I still could. It's going to take up more than the hour, which is okay. I don't mind when things overlap, but I still plan to use stickers in this kit. Labels will fit just fine as well. I'm sorry, not in this kit, in this planner. So labels will fit just fine as well. And I haven't tried it, but my guess is that little things will probably fit, yes, in a half-hour period slot. So if I wanted to use a little thing and block off a half an hour for a student meeting or a parent meeting or something like that, little things will take up those two lines to take up a half an hour. So I feel like those would all fit really nicely. Now, because this is work, Saturday and Sunday are very small, so I would just use the space to put in big events that we have going on. I don't need an hourly layout though for that in this planner. And then of course I've got a weekly checklist here, so things that are a must do I can put here, and then I can check as I go, and then follow up for anything that I need to follow up from the previous week, or if I need to follow up with a parent or admin or something like that, I can put down here. So that is what the weekly looks like, and I love it. Now, the way that the planner is set, it starts in July and it goes to August. So the final calendar doesn't have the weekly, but the final calendar is August. And then in theory, I would reprint this with the update and it would start again in July. So it does give me a full year. It doesn't just give me the 9-month school period. It does give me the full year. So I'm going to show you what I've done. I've already begun my curriculum mapping. My plan this summer is to take all of July off of work entirely, not do anything work related. My printer has decided to start cleaning itself right now all of a sudden, so I apologize if you hear the printer. But I decided that I was going to take July off, so I am spending the month of June doing my curriculum mapping and putting in dates that I know of already. I didn't feel comfortable writing in the actual planner yet for things like my lessons because things might change. I create what's called a needs assessment at the beginning of every school year. I do it at the beginning of the school year and then again at the start of the second semester. And I ask the staff what they feel the students really need a lesson in. So for example, I might feel like the students really need to work on coping skills when the staff might feel like they really need to work on conflict resolution. And so when I put out that needs assessment, I get it back, I put it in a Google Doc, I get it back with all of their answers, and it gives me a really beautiful spreadsheet showing me in order what things they think need to be taught first. And so I might change, I might still teach the exact same things, I just might move them around and teach things before other things. But that's the beauty of a school counseling program. I don't have a set curriculum, so I can set it up how I feel, it needs to be done, and based on the needs of my school. My school is changing a lot next year. Our zoning changed. Here in Las Vegas, we have zones based on where you live. You go to your zoned school. However, a new school was built in close proximity to my school, and so our zoning changed, and we're losing a lot of students. We're gaining some students from other areas, but the dynamic of my school is going to change. The population is changing, and our demographic is changing. And so I don't know exactly what I'm going to need to teach and when. I based everything off of my observations from this year and data from this year, but that may change. So that's why I put everything in with a post-it instead of committing to putting anything down, because this I can easily take off and move to another time. I put in when we return to work. I put in first day of school. These are things that I could write in the planner. They're not movable, but I didn't feel comfortable writing in it yet. And then of course we have our first counselor meeting. I have not been adding anything to the days yet. That's going to be next. But I went ahead and did this for every month of the school year so far. I put in days that we don't have school. I put in the things that I'd like to teach. I put them in the middle of the 2 weeks, because that means that for those 2 weeks, that's what I'm going to be teaching. 1 week I spend on the intermediate classes, 1 week I spend on the primary classes. That means 3 through 5, and then pre-K through 2. And then I put in also some due dates of some things that I need to do, and then the weeks. So for example, I told you that October, the first week in October is, I said Peace Week. It's Week of Respect. I'm sorry. So that's happening here in this first week. I'll be doing diversity lessons for those 2 weeks. I put in College Week, more school. I did put in a little bit of some birthdays. I didn't put in all the birthdays, but I did put in a few. I put in when we have a break, holidays. That's one thing about this planner. There are no holidays or anything written into the planner, which is nice. I know a lot of people white out holidays that they don't participate in. I'm not one of those people. I like to see the holidays. So it's kind of difficult for me, because now I won't be aware of holidays that I don't celebrate unless I go and search for them. So for example, in the Erin Condren, you have holidays on here. For example, Ramadan, if you are not a practicing member, then you would not have this in your planner per se. But obviously you can find those things online and you can put them in. So you'll need to add in your holidays. So Veterans Day, things like that. This month I only have one set of lessons I took this week. I left this week open here because it's the week before holiday, and so I usually try to spend my time checking in with students before they go out on break. And then again, I put in more lessons. This is another short month because we have Christmas break these last 2 weeks. So I put in here, this is the end of the first semester, so I've got to close out my first semester groups. And then we start the second semester, so new groups will begin. And then I put in the holidays. We've got Peace Week, Aiden's birthday, my son's birthday. And then we moved into February. Got a bunch of things going on in February. We've got National School Counselor Week as well as Random Act of Kindness Week. And then in March is where it gets kind of tricky, because this is when our state testing starts, and I'm a testing proctor, so I don't do a lot of lessons. I don't do any lessons once we start with testing. I do continue with my small groups and individual counseling, but I don't do any lessons. Same thing here with April. And so we've got spring break this week here, which is nice. It's still late. I wish it was in March, but that's fine. And then our spring break is always around Easter. So it used to be called Easter break. Now it's called spring break. And then of course I put on here another lesson, but I put on here for teachers. So I'm going to create a lesson for the teachers to do, since I'll be in testing. And then my last 2 weeks of May, I'll be doing, or my last 2 weeks of the school year, full weeks of the school year, I'll be doing transition lessons for everybody. And then we get in, our last day of school this year is on May 20th, which is amazing. And then I don't have anything for the rest of it, obviously, yet. But that is how I create it. Now, the nice thing, like I said, is if I decide that I need to do a different lesson at a different, place in time, I can just pick it up and move it. And so that's how I'm going to leave it for now. If you are interested in how I create my curriculum map and the lessons that I'm going to be doing, if you're a school counselor or a teacher and you want to teach social emotional education in your classroom and you're interested in what I'm doing, let me know. I would be more than happy to show you how I plan this out and the things that I have planned for the school year. That might be a fun video. So let me know if that's something that you want to see. There are no notes pages. Now this printable did come with additional page options that I could have printed and added into this planner. Notes pages, I believe there were notes pages. There was 2 pages where they had bigger boxes, post-it size, that I could have put post-its in, but I didn't feel like I needed those. I have notebooks that I keep notes in. I try to keep them all in one, so if I need to find something, I can go back and look. So I didn't want to add anything else into this. I just wanted the calendar, and I honestly am so happy with this little homemade planner. I can't even tell you. I love the size. I love the flexibility that it gave me. The price point was amazing. So I already had the paper. If I didn't have the paper, I believe it's somewhere around $16 on Amazon. I have Amazon Prime, so I bought it through that, and I want to say it's somewhere around there. The entire calendar was 147 pages. However, that's front and back, so cut the 147 in half, and that's how many pages we had. I already had the printer, I already had the paper, I already had the ink, so that didn't cost me anything additional because I already had it. So the only thing that I had to pay for was the $10 for the actual digital item, and then I paid, like I said, less than $4 to have it bound. If you needed to have it printed, that's not very expensive. I want to say that's maybe $10 a sheet, front and back, and so multiply that by what's half of 147? It's 70 something pages, right? So it would cost you $7 maybe. So you're looking at $20 or so if you needed to have this printed and bound, and if you weren't a teacher and you didn't have a teacher discount. So it's really not that bad. Like I said, you don't have to use the 32-pound paper. You can definitely use a thinner paper. If you're not sure what 32-pound feels like, if you've never touched it before, if you've ever used a So Much crafting insert, or a 1407 planners insert, it feels like that. It's very buttery smooth, and soft. It is very, very, very different from the paper in an Erin Condren. I am personally not a huge fan of the paper in the Erin Condren. It's very, like, porous would be the word I would use. I don't like writing on it. Yeah, look, I didn't even plan the last week of May. It was crazy. First week of summer, I didn't need plans. So anyway, that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you got some ideas. If you've never thought about looking online for a printable option, but you want a spiral planner, don't shy away from looking for printables. I didn't even think about it until I had purchased a digital planner on Teacherspayteachers from the same person. I'll link down below who I purchased this from, so if you want this exact planner, you can get it. But I purchased like a Google Docs package, and so I do a lot of online planning in Google Docs, which I then keep in my Google Drive. However, I wanted something printed, and so don't shy away if you can't find what you want. And I have been searching, you guys, searching. try online and try a printable option, and you can still get that spiral bound if that's what you're looking for. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you found this helpful, let me know down below. If you use printable options like this and there's something else you think I need to look at, let me know. If you know of any sticker shops that are selling printable stickers that are large, let me know. I would love to look at those. I thought about maybe looking into like the big Happy Planner stickers. They probably would fit in there too. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this planner down below, and if you're interested in any more counseling related lessons or planning or anything like that. I'd love to share that with you. And of course, make sure you slap a like on it. That helps me a ton. And subscribe to see more videos like this. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye.